Okay, update on broader equity markets. It's May 16th, 8 p.m. So we've got our first candle of the week, and it does look like we did get a daily cycle low across the indices on Friday, or I should say, actually, on Thursday was the daily cycle low. Friday was the first day of the daily cycle low. That was the day you got your swing low. Here we're starting on IWM. This is your daily chart, and that's how we knew we got our swing low, right? This is the candle that marks the low. Once we went above this candle here, which was a gap up day on Friday, we knew we had a swing low. And today we've just consolidated. I mean, in fact, this candle is like telling you that there was a real chop zone today, right? Price went up here, and then it went down here, and then ended up really doing nothing in the end. So today was day two, very uneventful. Notice in bearish cycles, we had a top on day 9, but you could also have a top on day 21, and then the low was day 18, 38. So we're going to have to watch this very closely in terms of when we get our early high. But structurally, you can imagine that's going to be a tough hurdle, right? This is your first kind of counter trend rally, and that's going to be tough, right? Not to mention all of this stuff here and this. So 205, I mean, would be kind of crazy to see us get any further than that in this daily cycle. But we'll see. Obviously, we'll have to react to price action as it develops in real time. And note and remember, this area here is the vaccine gap. That's from November 2020. We are likely going to go, visit, call it the 165 region. And if we look at the weekly, so it's day 2 of a new weekly cycle, but it's only week 12 of a weekly cycle. Or excuse me, it's day 2 of a new daily cycle, but it's only week 12 of a weekly cycle. Now, technically, we're not too far away from making a weekly swing low. We need to get above 182.69, right? If we were able to do that, right, you imagine something like a move like this, and maybe this, and then that. That would be pretty nice, but I would imagine then something like that, right? We work our way lower progressively. Because notice these weekly cycles tend to go 25 to 30 weeks, right? Last one was 31, 20, 22, 28. Unlikely we had our low on week 11. This is an inside week though, so be careful not to get chopped up. That's IWM. We'll go to QQQ next. So same story here on the daily, day 2. Really the same story. It's a weekly. The weekly is an inside week so far. In this case, your weekly swing low would be above, what is that? Call it 309, right? And so we're here at 298. So, that could present some resistance when you kind of get up to that area. But again, would expect an early daily cycle high. This last one topped out on day 11, the one before that on day 7, the one before that on day 16. So that kind of gives you a sense. I mean, that tells me, it wouldn't be crazy to get a top, imagine day 12, day 13, right? We get up to somewhere around like here. Let's call it 335. That would be a convincing rally that could suck a lot more people in before, another big leg down. And finally, SPX, the one that kind of drives the bus. I'm obviously very correlated with QQQ. Same thing on the daily again. Day 2 of a new daily cycle. Previous one topped out on day 23. The low was day 54. That was a pretty long drop, over 30 trading days, well over a calendar month. The one before that topped out on day 7, day 21. We had a high on day 10 a few cycles back. So we could, again, in this case, thinking structurally, 43.18 looks like it would be really tough to get any higher than that, right? Because you imagine that just gives you a nice little lower high, right? You even go like something like that, then you fail, and then you keep moving lower, right? You can see something like that. So that's your daily, and then on your weekly, notice these are all slightly different weekly counts, but the structure is exactly the same, right? That's important, right? So you've got a long candle last week because we had a lot of downside, but you also have a long lower wick because you had a rally. It's an inside week. In this case, we need to get above 40.82. Yeah, roughly speaking, to get our weekly swing low, which it would seem like we could do. Like we're coming out of a daily cycle low. Again, you'd expect we'd rally for 10, maybe 12 days. Again, be careful not to get sucked in though. This is probably this is week 12. Notice, just like the other ones, these weekly cycles don't tend to bottom on week 11 or thereabouts. Especially after this damage, the other way to kind of think about it is think about what a downtrend does, right? Lower lows and then lower highs, and then lower lows and then lower highs. This huge downside, you've seen like papers writing about it. You haven't had 7 red weeks in a row, even during the 2008 bust. This was a massive lower low. And so what usually comes after a lower low is a lower high. So there will be a rally. But what comes after that lower high? A lower low. So we're eventually going below here, right? And so again, just beware, right? We could, again, you could see a move like that. And then, the wheels just kind of come off. We just step our way lower. Again, after a while, we'll get a big bounce again. And then we'll have to reevaluate. Is this a real reversal that's going to take us back potentially to all-time highs? But for now, treacherous waters, be very careful.